Hi there, today is January 24th and I haven't done one of these sessions in a while, so I'm going to do one now. This is my Spirit Speaks deck that I created, and there's 5 decks in it, and it's actually, the more I sit with the purpose of the deck, the more powerful it becomes. And so I'm going to keep doing sessions every day so that we can talk about what the cards actually mean. So the one I pulled says, let's see what we can do to help you create a more loving relationship with your divine purpose. So the point of this deck when I created it was to help people really get in tune and connected to the divine mother, the divine father, as well as the divine feminine and the divine masculine. This is not me telling you what a higher power is or what to believe, but what this is showing me is, when I was really, really sick, the times that I was diagnosed with cancer, the times that my mom died, or the time that my mom died, I always felt this divine presence. And when I felt that, I felt safe. I felt held. I felt loved. And I felt like everything was going to be okay, even though it wasn't okay. And so I continued to connect to that. And we're all going to have a different experience of what the divine is to us. And I believe everyone's experience is valid. I believe everyone's experience is powerful. Everyone's experience is beautiful. And so I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to tell you to connect to it, because we all had earth parents, which means our parents parented us from their lack, their limits, and their fear, their wounds, their trauma. And that's how we parented our own children. And if we want to heal those wounds and, rewire those neural pathways, which are the belief systems from the patterns, this is my process. Everybody's going to have a different process. But when we really feel safe and held and loved in the arms of the divine, to me, which is the mother and the father, then our nervous system starts to not believe that we're not safe. So those I'm trying to think of my words here, but the neural pathways and the programs that are telling us that we're not safe, that life can't be trusted, that people are not good, or whatever it may be, they're starting to dissolve, because when we really truly feel safety, when we really truly feel loved, when we really truly believe that there is a divine unfoldment, then we're no longer believing the thoughts that are showing up from those belief systems, which means that they're like nerves that fire together, wire together. So the more that we think a thought and feel the same vibration of emotion, the more valuable that those neural pathways are. But if we stop believing them and then eventually stop thinking them, they're going to dissolve because we're no longer paying attention to them. So what we're doing right now is we're doing a session working on our divine purpose, having a loving relationship with our divine purpose. And what this card is saying is, my love, you've been trying to control. So when we're trying to control, what that's doing is it's pulling us from the moment. It's pulling us from our divine connection. It's pulling us from feeling safe. It's pulling us from feeling loved. So the card in this deck is going to show us exactly what us trying to control is preventing. Woo, sorry, puppy dog. I got a little puppy on my lap. So trying to control is preventing us from feeling grateful. You're not allowing us to bless all the areas of your life we are waiting to bless. So what I've really been sitting with in my meditations and really, really seeing is how powerful our doubts and our fears are. Just like I said, these are our belief systems. And what these thoughts do is they pull us from being in the moment, which is pulling us from feeling safe, which is pulling us from feeling love. So we're us trying to control situations, which I can totally see where I try to control things in my life. But us trying to control is preventing us from feeling grateful. Because when you're trying to control, you're in a state of struggle, which means you're in a state of lack, which means you're not focusing on what you are grateful for. And when you're in a state of gratitude, that's when your blessings show up. That's when you are this magnetic, attractive energy to incredible things like abundance and your divine purpose. So, what we're focusing on is releasing some of our need to control so that we can feel more grateful to attract more blessings. And deck 4 is practical action for us. And this card that I pulled says, it's time to express yourself. Get good and angry. Anger helps to move your emotions. Don't skip feeling the anger, but don't get stuck in it either. And this is really, really powerful because healthy expression is one of the best ways to release what we're hanging on to. And oftentimes, I mean, we get stuck in anger. So we marinate in our anger, but we're not really expressing it. So there's a lot of people that do that, but then a lot of people are repressing their anger, which means they never feel like they're allowed to get angry. We're supposed to get really good and fucking angry about things that are happening in our life, but we're not meant to like freak the fuck out about it. We're meant to express it openly and honestly. So have an open, honest conversation with the person that you're angry with. You know, write it out in a journal. See a therapist. Like, find a friend that isn't going to get stuck in the blame game with you or try to give you advice, but who's just going to hold the space and listen. Because it's okay to be angry, but on the other side of anger is always going to be sadness. So if you're staying in the anger and you're always angry about a situation, that's a lack of emotional maturity. Because when you get to the space where you cry it out, after you cry it out, it's like you're freeing it from your system, and then what you were worried about facing is actually turning into wisdom. And on the other side of that wisdom is surrendering it to the universe, to the divine, so you're not trying to control it anymore. So healthy expression is one of the best ways to start to heal, you know, the trauma and the hurt and the wounds and the neural pathways that have been created from us being hurt at some point, which really comes from the stories that we told ourselves about what happened. So we're going to keep talking about this every day as I do these sessions. I'm now doing Zoom calls, I'm doing classes. Like, my work now, I realize, is to share this powerful system with people so that we can heal together, that we can really, really, really get deep into our hearts so that we can start to feel the love and the peace and the joy. Because feeling love and peace and joy is actually going to pull us from trying to control the patterns that we're talking about. So the message from Spirit says, "Dear child, speak to us about your wishes and desires. We want to hear what your beautiful heart is holding. We promise that what we have for you is going to pleasantly surprise you." So that's another part of this, is getting this message from Spirit. And oftentimes, if we're afraid to express our anger and our emotions, we're also afraid to express what we want and what we desire. It's not in a way that we need it in order to be happy. It's just, it's okay to want our kids to be healthy. It's okay to want our kids to be happy. It's okay to want our businesses to succeed. It's okay that we want new vehicles or bigger homes, because when we're really speaking with the divine, it's coming from this state of, this would bring more freedom in my life if I had more time by making more money, not I need money because I want a better purse or whatever that may be. It's really getting deep into your heart to feel out the things that you believe that you need. If you need it in order to be happy, you're coming from a state of lack. But if it's something that brings you excitement and joy,